Anyway, great question. I'm glad we got that
Great
one.
question.
Wait, are you working on that podcast again? I was like, wait a minute.
In fact, I don't think she's ever listened to
Really?
a show. No, she'll have some friends that'll be like, hey, they said this, and I'll get some commentary on like, what are you doing? Like, that seems ridiculous, that kind of thing. But like, I honest to God, don't think that my wife has ever downloaded an episode.
Oh, so you have groupies now, huh?
I've worked at Coca-Cola for 21 years.
We're delivering Dr. Pepper from our brand new facility in Dallas, Texas.
We're really proud to still make Pepsi products in America.
You don't need a college degree to work here, but I put 4 kids through college by working here.
This is a great place to work with great people and great American brands.
Grocery stores, convenience stores, restaurants, they all depend on us.
We deliver great paying jobs.
We deliver beverages people love.
We deliver for our community.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Keep the faith, hold the line, and own the libs. It's time for our main event.
Happy New Year! I can't think of a better way to spend New Year's Day than a little time with the fellas. I'm Josh Holmes, along with Comfortably Smug, Michael Duncan, and John Ashbrook, left to right across your radio dial, as always. So we had advertised on the way into the holiday season that we were going to do some Q&A. Mm-hmm. And I think we got carried away with the first one, in that the first couple of questions, they were biographical in nature, and we felt the need to sort of expound on each other's virtues. Believe it or not, we actually like each other. Mm-hmm. And you don't get an opportunity, at least I don't get an opportunity all the time, to talk about how great I think you fellas are. So that lasted a little longer than we probably intended. We didn't get to as many questions as we probably wanted to, but we're going to make up for it today. So we've got some more questions we're going to get to. We're going to have some fun along the way. We've got an interview for you with a very important guy, Andrew Bremberg, who was knotted in with the first Trump term. We had actually worked with him long ago.
Oh, yeah.
In Senate leadership, and he understands the ins and outs of a whole bunch of things that the administration is up to right now in regards to healthcare, international policy, all kinds of different stuff that I think you'll find fascinating. So you can look forward to that. But we need to start with the questions. Mm-hmm. And I think we should do this the same way that we do with the question of the day type stuff. So we should probably start at the voice.
Yeah.
Okay, first question comes from Lisa Schutze. And Lisa, I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your last name, but your question is incredible. She writes, for your holiday question bonanza, I want to know the funniest thing your wives have said after one of your banger shows.
Well, mine's pretty easy because my wife doesn't listen to a show. In fact, I don't think she's ever listened to
Really?
a show. No, she'll have some friends that'll be like, hey, they said this, and I'll get some commentary on like, what are you doing? Like, that seems ridiculous, that kind of thing. But like, I honest to God, don't think that my wife has ever downloaded an episode.
I will tell you, my wife does listen some, but the thing that sticks out to me that she said happened in our very early days. And it wasn't about something that we talked about on the show. It was, I'm sitting in bed editing the audio on the show, and at the very beginning, Michael Duncan and I both edited the show, produced it. And I'm sitting there, it's like 11:30 at night. I'm trying to put it in so that it can go up early in the morning. And she's like, wait, are you working on that podcast again? And I was like, wait a minute. Why are you looking down on me?
Oh, they hated it.
This is important. This is a big project.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife, like Holmes's wife, does not listen, which I think she takes as a point of pride. Supportive, nonetheless. Very supportive, as I'm sure your wife is.
Increasingly, as it has shown that it is going to actually do things.
Well, that's come with its own difficulties, though. One quick story.
Oh, yeah. Can we do that?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Whatever. Yeah. Okay, so I don't know, maybe like a year and a half, 2 years into this thing, we started getting out there more, like doing live events, and we had parties and things like that, and you know, around town. This is a great story.
I just figured out what you're saying.
And my wife was with me, and these very nice women come up and introduce themselves. You're Michael Duncan. Oh, Ruthless podcast. And they're like the biggest fans, yada, yada, yada. And at that point, it sort of clicked in my wife's head, like, this is a real thing people are listening to. But she doesn't say anything. She doesn't say anything. And like, we go through the rest of the evening and everything. And then we get into the Uber on the way home. Door closes. She goes, oh, so you have groupies now, huh?
Wait a minute. Didn't one of them, and I apologize if I'm going too far.
No, there is no too far. It's a holiday spectacular.
Didn't one of them ask Katie to take a picture of you with them or something like that? Or didn't
that
she?
happened.
Oh, no, she
the,
asked
the way
Katie.
the way that it happened was I was talking to somebody else, and this woman approached my wife, not knowing she was my wife, and said, "Is that Michael Duncan?" to my wife, independent of me. And she's like, "Yeah, what?
She's
Why?
like, why do you want to know that?
Why do you want to know that? Why do you want to know who he is?" Very funny.
It was so. It was about the same time frame as we started doing a couple of live events, and my wife witnessed Ashbrook signing a pair of boobs from the stage.
I didn't actually do it. It was a goof.
It was a goof.
It's somebody, a friend of ours, put her sister up to, and she handed me a ballpoint pen. And she was like, "Hey, will you do this?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" I was.
But you carried through nevertheless as a good soldier.
Yeah,
Well,
as a showman. As a showman.
It's a real show.
Yeah, it's a real show. But my wife, I don't think, was in on the goof and was like, "Did John actually sign a pair of boobs?" And I was like, "He sure did." You'd be surprised at how successful the show was.
Smug's being awfully quiet in all of this.
No,
has anyone noticed?
I actually have a great story, that a very recent one is. So I went with my wife to visit her parents, my in-laws, over the holidays, and on our flight back, I guess my wife had been texting with her mom, and she was like, my wife says, I guess my mom didn't understand how big the show has gotten, and she brought it up at work, and I guess one of the younger guys was like, "Ruthless? That's my favorite show." And so like it finally dawned on her.
She was like, "Oh, it's not it's not a hobby.
It's a real show.
It's a real show.
Yeah, well, how about, we were like number 9 most Googled podcast in the world?
Yeah.
How about that?
Look at us.
Great.
Who would have thought?
Who'd have thought? Our wives don't, honestly, my wife is like, great. She could see that and be like, mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, Khloe Kardashian. I think I mentioned this to you guys. Khloe Kardashian actually posted the picture with all the top podcasts, and I texted it to my wife and my daughters. And my wife responds, "Not sure you have the same followers, but pretty great."
Fair enough.
Keeping us humble.
No,
Keeping us humble.
there's nothing but humility on the home front. No question about that. All right, question 2. Dunks, what do we got?
This from American Woman. They write, serious question. What would one do to be able to get in on a Senate or a House race? I'm 53 years old and most of my adult life. I didn't even pay attention to politics until Trump hit the scene. Now I realize how extremely important politics is, and I want to help save America.
I love that.
It's good sentiment.
I love that. Listen, being involved is extremely important. That's what we preach here in the program, that all these things are going to happen to you or for you, but they're going to happen. And so you might as well be involved and understand what it is that's going on. I will say, running for office, if you're talking about what she's talking about here, which is a Senate or House race, you're talking about a federal race. And there are no training wheels on that situation. If you haven't run for office before, I hate to tell you, but it's going to require an awful lot of resources. No, there just is what it is. Mm-hmm. Because if you're vulnerable at all, the entirety of the Democratic Party is going to come after you and try to knock you out with tens of millions of dollars. And it used to be like Senate races were their own thing. They're like mini presidential races in their own state. And that, I've always said, is, short of President of the United States, the most difficult race you can run in, because you got to have a grassroots network. You're going to have to raise a ton of money, and you have no mistakes.
And the national media is breathing down your neck.
Yeah, I mean, the New York Times is doing profile pieces of people who have been public figures for about 2 months. Meanwhile, they've got 20-year fraudulent, twice convicted pedophiles on the other side that they're like, I don't know, seems like a good candidate.
Right.
Right. And so you're going to get all that scrutiny. So I don't suggest that anybody who doesn't have $100 million that they're interested in departing with jumps into a Senate race. I think you should get active at the local level, no question about it. The best, most successful people I have seen who are new to the political scene have gotten involved and started going to we used to call it in Minnesota BPOU, which is a local organizing unit with your party. You start going, start showing up and listening to people. Listening to what it is that they care about, being part of the machinery, helping to elect other people. People get to know you and your heart that way. They can't question your integrity about wanting to be involved in the process if you're involved at the ground of somebody else's process when you're all trying to seek the same ends in terms of conservative governance. So I think that's really important. The House race stuff, look, there is no substitute for just getting to know people. There just isn't. You'll have these wave elections where people just kind of figure out how to skid by and come from nowhere and be wiped in by a Trump majority because everybody on the Republican ticket wins. But for the most part, you're just going to have to get to know people, don't you think, fellas?
No, that's exactly right. There is no substitute for that. And if you're running, and whether you're in a wave cycle or not, if you don't know the people who you are running to represent intimately, then you're gonna miss the boat, and somebody else who knows them better is actually going to get the nomination or is going to win the election. You actually have to, and it's not just a lot of people talk about grass tops. It's not just the most influential people in your community, although they're important. Actual normal people who you are talking to will give you the concepts that you need to use to run on every single time, because at its base level, you are running to represent them. And if you are not pushing back out in your speeches and out when you're talking to other people, you're debating Democrats, if what you're saying doesn't reflect what the people want in their representative, you're not going to win.
Well, and if you've never worked on a campaign, I recommend doing that too. Show up and volunteer.
Totally.
Stop into your county GOP office and work the phones or knock doors. And because being the candidate's one thing, but also understanding the mechanics of the election itself is really good knowledge if you do end up deciding you'd want to run. And you might find out the closer you get to the actual process itself, it's not for you. But if it is for you, you want to know how it works before you jump in and do it.
And there's a bunch of hucksters in politics.
So many.
The whole consultant class, too.
Right.
If you catch fire and you actually have something, you're going to be visited by every two-bit clown that has ever been produced in party politics who is 15% off your app buy, 10% off of your fundraising total. I'll sit around and give you some tips about how to do it. And you just have to see that coming because these guys, they're persuasive. You know what I mean? They continue to be employed each and every year, but unless you understand,
I think also that's why Duncan's advice is so sound. Is if you do start at the true grassroots level of you're petitioning to help a candidate get on the ballot, you're doing the door knocking, you're doing the phone banking. If you can see the mechanics when the petitions are getting submitted to the local board of elections, you see how they're getting certified, you see the whole process. If you know the ins and outs. If you decide to eventually run, you know the mechanics and you see it, so you don't get, these hucksters showing up who are like, yeah, I got the petition process covered. You don't have to worry about it. Here's what the charge is going to be. Here's how it's going to work. But also, you get a better understanding of your community by doing that. If you knock on 1,000 doors, you probably have a better understanding of that district, of that community, than any of the reporters that the New York Times is going to have reporting on it. Because that not only puts you out there seeing, okay, this is a tough job, actually reaching out to people, going door to door, doing that organizing, doing that voter ID. But voter ID isn't just okay, I filled out the sheet that I'm given to identify whether this is a person who's going to support my candidate or not. You slowly listen to people's stories, and you pick up on what is the concern of that community. So if you do decide to run, if you do want to become part of the process, you understand what the community is actually looking for. And if you can serve the community's needs and run on it and address what they want, that's all it's about. That's it.
Totally. And if you think it's about you,
It's not about you.
You're wrong.
you're wrong. I mean, if there's a one inkling of a thought in your head that this is some kind of a vanity play,
No.
don't do it, dog.
Voters will humble you fast.
You will get humbled in an absolute hurry. There are no
great
more
point, man.
Mr. Smiths go to Washington. What there are is a lot of Rudies. Remember that old movie, Rudy?
Love that movie.
A bunch of people were tackling dummies for 3.5 years who understand and have earned the right to show up because they've been the tackling dummy. They put up the yard signs. They worked through the relationships. They've helped people along the way. They've tried. People trust them, you know. And I think that's probably my best advice. But please get involved. I don't want to say any of this to discourage you from
No, quite the opposite.
doing anything. It's just the right way to do it. If anybody thinks that they're like, oh, I'm going to sign up, I'm going to put my name on a ballot, and I'm just going to be a candidate, like you're not going to have a great experience. But if you've done the homework, and it's probably a 2 to 4 to 6 year thing for you to figure out whether or not you can adequately do the job people are asking you to do, because you hear from them. Listening is the most important part
It
of
is.
the whole
It's so important.
whole gig. Anyway, great question. I'm glad we got that
great
one.
question.
All right, Smug, what do we got?
Question 3 is from Evie Boy, and they ask, "We're seeing a massive realignment where the GOP is becoming the party of the working class. If the Dems eventually realize they can't win with just college-educated suburbanites, which specific progressive policy do you think they will be forced to abandon first to stop the bleeding?" Great question.
Open border.
Yeah.
I think
You think
that's
so?
number one. Open border.
It's a pretty good answer.
I don't know. I think they cling to that. I think first would be probably the trans thing because it doesn't translate into money or votes necessarily. I think the open borders thing, like you look at what's happening in these Somali Minnesota communities, you know, like them having an open border, anyone gets in here,
Yeah, it's
let's
worked
get
for
them
them.
on the dole, and then they give us the votes. I think that is a system that they've become reliant on, is basically being like, no, this person who just arrived here yesterday is just as American as you or me.
point.
It just, I have to allocate money from the taxpayer
Well-
to them, and then they vote for me. That's the most American thing possible.
So I have a modified version of what both of you guys said because I think every cycle is a little bit different. Every cycle is based on the current conversation as it develops in the 2 years prior. And I think that there's so much attention right now on this fraud in Minnesota and the rampant spread to every other state that I do think fraud in public services is something that's going to be on the top of mind of so many voters in, we're talking about 2026. I think that it's going to be really hard for Democrats to get the middle of the road voters if they're not addressing this fraud because, you know, we talked about this on Tuesday. So many Dem voters are, you know, conditioned to believe that the government can do something for them. And if the idea that the government can do something for them is undercut even further than it ever has been by these foreigners who are coming in and stealing the money from poor Americans who rely on it, that's not good for them.
I agree with you. I just think the open border has second and third order effects across all these other things we're talking about.
Yeah, that's true.
right? Like whether it's, you know, people getting in across the border to defraud Medicaid and Medicare, or, you know, these daycare situations, or drugs and crime and the just general lawlessness in our country. There's a lot of issues that people vote on that fall under the umbrella of like, here's this thing, this obvious thing you refuse to fix that's a cause of all of these other ills in our society.
Yeah, I mean, you hit on what I was going to say, which was the lawlessness component. Like anytime you're a political party who basically turns a blind eye to violent crime because the constituency that's committing said crimes votes for you, I think that's problematic. And you know, even in the question, they talk about college-educated suburbanites, you can't win with just them. Well, I don't know, in midterms they can, and they have.
Right.
But you can't win with them if you've turned a blind eye to every time they go downtown for a football game, a baseball game, a theater play, or their kid has got to go, and they're like accosted and assaulted and robbed. Like all of a sudden that becomes a huge problem for them. And I think it's not just a permissive culture within Democratic politics. It's actually encouraged in some ways. Because, again, it goes back to our Tuesday show. We talk about, like, well, if you're saying that this is a problem, you're a racist. And that's the insulation that they have built in their coalitions and how they see the macro political country and how they vote. If we can just convince everybody we're on your side because these guys want to do stuff to you and these guys don't, and these are like urbanites or whatever, like that's how they view everybody as a cylinder. They don't view upward mobility in this country as a virtue. They see it as like, as long as we can keep people beholden to what it is that we've prescribed for them, and we can dole out these things that their community leaders can send to Mogadishu or whatever, like then we have them and they're hooked. And that's what the way that I think that kind of links together all three of the things that we've talked about here. We're talking about immigration, you're talking about the fraud, you're talking about all these things that ultimately it's just about the power structure that Democrats have built for themselves that includes crime.
It's like, does Tim Walz want to door knock and figure out, like, how can my constituent services deal with the issues of this person and now one door over and this person and now one door over this? Or do I just, like, check the box on this program that ships billions of dollars to these daycare centers and I get votes? Which do you think he'd pick?
Yeah. A close second to mine, by the way, and I won't get into it, was the radical environmentalism.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Which I think doesn't...
It feels like they've kind of learned that no one wants
they
that, and it's
started
a fail.
because there is actual no constituency for it. It's just funded by billionaires, which they are beholden to try to run these political races. The constituency that they're hoping to win over is directly affected by that activism, right? The union laborers, the blue-collar workers, all the people are paying the price for them adopting that as a platform. The reason I didn't say it is because I think that that's like already...
No, but that's
a good point.
It's a really good point.
Already moving. Right. Listen, we're going to get to more of your questions right after this.
Only 58% of Americans today say they're proud to be American. The lowest number ever recorded. That's not just sad, it is very dangerous, because if we forget what makes America special, we risk losing it. That's why Americans for Prosperity is launching the One Small Step campaign, a bold nationwide initiative to reconnect Americans with our founding principles that sparked unparalleled innovation and prosperity. It's not just a celebration, it's a call to action. Through the 250,000 Steps for Freedom Challenge, AFP is partnering with the grassroots in all 50 states to take meaningful steps that defend freedom and advance opportunity. Call your representative, attend a local event, knock on a door, talk to your neighbors. Every single step counts, and every step moves us closer to a more perfect union. Go to takeonesmallstep.com to learn more, then join the challenge at afpvolunteer.com.
Okay, more of your questions. We always start with a voice. This one seems particularly apropos.
Okay.
Of the voice.
Okay, this question's from Adam Scavone. Adam asks, if a neutral party wanted to try Skyline Chili for the first time, is within driving distance and wants to assess for himself, how would you suggest going about it? Which location? Just order the Skyline Chili. Walk us through this. And, okay, I guess I'm the right person to start with on this.
So basically it's Raccoon Simulator. You jump into a dumpster and you just go ham.
Yeah.
And that's what you have.
Well, I was going to say you go to the closest PetSmart and you find the dog food aisle and you pick up the Alpo Extra Chunky and you open that can up and you put it over some really wet spaghetti.
There it
I
is.
was thinking that maybe you took the red food dye that RFK banned.
Red Dye 40?
Put it in about 8 ounces of water and pour it over noodles. And there you go.
Obviously, none of my co-hosts appreciate flavor. Skyline Chili is delicious. If I had one more meal to eat on this planet, I would eat chili spaghetti. But let me answer the question.
Okay.
If you want Skyline Chili and you want to try it, you have to go to a location. You can order it. They have it available at Kroger's or some of the Kroger's affiliates. You can order it online, and you can try to make it yourself. But it's not the same as if you go in person and you have it fresh. With one
Fresh is in quotation marks.
one proviso, one single proviso is that you can order a can of it and you can make Skyline Chili dip. And let me just explain to you how you make Skyline Chili dip, okay? It's a base layer of cream cheese on the bottom of a 9x13. On top of that, you open a can of Skyline Chili that you buy at the store. You pour that on and make sure it's spread evenly. And on top of that, you put cheddar cheese.
Whoa.
And then you dip.
What?
Wow. Did you read that in Bon Appetit?
Yeah. Did you get that? You had Skyline Chili in a pan, and there you go. You've got the dip.
I couldn't have guessed that's what it'd be.
You got Emerald over here taking notes on the thing.
Can I just say,
how do we do that again?
Can I just say this is
it's good. It's a good dip.
The truth
You
of
put it in the oven.
the truth of Skyline
350
Chili
for 15 minutes.
is you don't try it. You don't have to try it because it's a weird thing because this is like Cincinnati, this part of Ohio is like bombed out, depleted, impoverished. Like, anyone who can escape from Cincinnati has escaped from Cincinnati.
Next will be Joe
Not
Burrow.
true.
But they have
No.
But they have this like
Please no.
They have this like weird point of pride. Like you never hear people get out of jail and they're like, you know what I miss is the liquor I made in the toilet. You know, but like for people in Cincinnati, they have this like weird kind of like shared trauma of being in this like bombed out shithole, and they're like, part of what we did is like eat spaghetti and fucked up chili, and we're proud of this. You know, usually when you escape, like you talk to Vietnam veterans who were at the Hanoi Hotel. They're not like, I missed the fucked up shit they did to us in there.
Yeah.
But Cincinnati people, for some reason, want to celebrate this weird fucked up thing they had to eat when they were there. You've escaped, dude. There's no point to like go back and be like, I want to relive before I had escaped. Like there's a lot of well-functioning people who have escaped Cincinnati. Basically, if you're in Cincinnati, you haven't escaped, right? So like if you're visiting for some reason, unfortunately, like, for work or whatever, you don't have to try it. It's not like I go to Chicago and I have the deep dish pizza. I know it's terrible. The people there are deluding themselves. I'm not going to take part in the delusion, but Cincinnati, the Skyline Chili is like an exceptional example of people deluding themselves into what is just a struggle meal is actually a good thing to be celebrated.
That, ladies and gentlemen, is the sound of jealousy. Skyline is delicious. I encourage you to try it as soon as you can.
I love it. Okay, we got to move on. Dunks or Runks, what do we got?
This is from Sam Kalos. Sam writes, final 2 questions. Who are your journalistic giants? What actually changed for the program since the deal?
Those are good questions.
Okay.
And I wanted to noted for the audience that this is not something that we have like sat and pontificated an answer to. Like we're hearing these for the first time. Journalistic giants is tough because we came of age in an era where everything changed so quickly. And that you can look back, like, I look back at like the Morley Safers and the Mike Wallaces and the people who did the 60 Minutes thing when it was supposed to be 60 Minutes. Like the way it was supposed, it was always left leaning, but it was actually like in depth, and you got answers to real questions, and they were dicks, and they were all, and like I always have had reverence for that. For a guy that I worked with though in the last 25 years, there was this guy named Dave Espo at the Associated Press. I don't know what his ideology is. I don't have a clue, and I think that's the greatest compliment that I could pay someone in the era where I've had to deal with political journalism of anybody, in that he was just an equal opportunity asshole. He just was, and I loved him for it. And we got along famously because he'd be like, "You're lying," and I'd be like, "I'm not. Here's the paper." He's like, "Yeah, I don't buy it." And then the other side, I would come and show him something, and he would go to the other people and be like, "You're a liar." And he would. It's not like every story went our way. To the contrary, like many went the wrong way, but he was just a journalist, and he was the head of Associated Press back in like, I want to say the 05, 06, 07, 08, probably long before that, but when I was coming of age, that I thought like, that's to be admired at some level.
That's nice. Smug, I'm sure yours will be just as thoughtful.
Boy, I'd say Joe Kernan CNBC.
Oh.
I used to
That's a good one.
I used
Yeah.
to watch that in the mornings with my dad. I got a chance to meet him at one of the Nixon Foundation's events, and he is just as cool.
Apparently,
in
he's a fan
person.
of the program.
Yeah, I mean, he's just an awesome guy. All around awesome guy. He's been at it for decades. Super reliable guy. Also, just like more mainstream, non-financial. I'd say like Peter Jennings. I always thought was.
Oh,
like
that's a
straight
good
shooter.
one, dude.
Real serious guy.
Yeah.
Nice. And really come prepared with a specific journalist. Maybe like more like there's styles of journalism that I don't think we have as much of in this country anymore. Like, I mean, this Nick guy who did the whole Minnesota fraud thing that we covered on Tuesday, like that sort of undercover journalism, I really appreciate a lot. You know, that like I feel like that is something that
It
we
was
need a
like
lot more of.
the on your side type local news
Yeah, the local
reporting.
news stuff.
That was
Yeah.
real stuff. That
Yeah.
was real journalism.
And
That
we
was
used to
real
have like a
things.
really rich history of that in this country, all the way back to like Upton Sinclair or like
Totally.
Nellie Bly, who like checked herself into an insane asylum.
Yep.
Like that sort of stuff is like really good
I like
journalism.
That's a good take.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go to the journalist.
Yeah.
So I have
Go through the Rolodex of friends. Let's hear it.
I have
It's nothing but contemporaries.
It's gonna be like his groomsman. It's gonna be his groomsman.
Hell yeah.
I have a bunch of names I could say, and the first one I was going to say was Nick Shirley, because I think that guy is the future of journalism. What he did was incredible. But if I got to think of another one, the first name that comes to mind is a guy who passed probably like 5 or 6 years ago. His name is Robert Pear.
Oh,
He was
I remember him well.
He wrote for the New York Times. He was a healthcare reporter, and he was the kind of old school journo who was very well sourced, would constantly try to write the story as it was, as factually presentable as he possibly could present it.
Well, so I think to put a finer point on that, we dealt with him a lot during Obamacare because he was like the healthcare reporter at the New York Times, but he didn't give a shit what the rhetoric was.
Right.
Gave no shits. Like
He was critical.
It wasn't about the quotes on either side. He thought they were both full of shit. He would like actually read the text of the bill and come back with committee staff and us in leadership and be like, "What are these things?" And like you had answers to it, and he would sort his way through it one way or another. And his whole attempt and you can make arguments about whether he was left or center or not, but his whole attempt was trying to make the indecipherably complicated less complicated for a reader.
Which healthcare is notoriously complicated. I mean, that's why they build the system the way they did, so they can make money and you're like left confused just paying your bill every month. And he was really smart. He was, in my experience, a very honest guy. And one of my favorite stories about him was a bunch of my friends were going to a Christmas party and at the CBO. Which, who goes to a Christmas party at the CBO, right?
Oh my God! Can you
No,
imagine a worse
nobody goes
place?
unless you're a journo who is trying to like build your sources. And
Amazing.
Dude, you imagine a worse Christmas party?
yeah, and so in their generation behind Robert Pear, they're closer to our age.
Do you spend again? This is a Christmas party at the budget
at the Congressional Budget Office. So they all
with bean counters.
Yeah. So they all go over to the Christmas party together, and Robert Pear is with them, and they're like, okay, well, I guess it's in room XYZ, and of course the CBO building is put way apart from polite society because they know that all the nerds can't be around all the normies.
You can't have that, yeah.
And they get to the building, and Robert Pear looks at the group, and he's like, I have a meeting with somebody down on the basement floor. And they're like, what? We're here for the Christmas party we didn't even really want to go to, and you have a meeting down in the basement among the files? And to me, it stuck out as like, this guy is so well-sourced and so committed to his work every single day of the week that he's walking to the basement and meeting with somebody so that he could get it right when everybody else that he's walking over there with is like, I don't even want to be here drinking with these people. So that really stuck out to me, and I think he was a really good person, and I think he's my journalistic giant.
Can I also say I want to give a special shout out Bill Hemmer, who
Oh, yeah.
I learned when we did the Christmas special up with Fox. He is actually like the coolest dude. Like you see him on TV, he's the most serious journalist who's on the job. He nails it. But when he's off the clock, he's just a dude you want to hang out
Yeah,
with.
he's a dude.
That's right.
He's a great guy.
That's right.
Don't say where he's from because we'll get into a whole Skyline Chili situation.
We all know. Everybody knows.
Everybody knows. So the second part of this was what has actually changed for the program since our Fox deal. You're seeing it. Not a whole lot. The only thing that is, I think, different in our lives is that we do a lot more Fox. We're asked to do a lot more commentary on the network on a week out basis, which we love. And we enjoy being able to talk to you through a different medium and get to know everybody over there, which I feel like it's an extended family at this point. They've been so gracious and welcoming to us into that world. But I feel like that's kind of the only, like, content clearly hasn't changed.
Shockingly, thank God.
In fact, quite the opposite with the addition of Funtime Friday,
Oh,
which
yeah.
I feel like is uniquely off the rails.
You're right. That is
You know.
a tangible difference.
Yeah.
We did 3 episodes at the end of the 2024 election. We picked it back up with our Fox deal, so we have Funtime Friday for all of you. But other than that, are we doing anything?
I think
different?
also the folks we get to hang out with, like they let us have Brett Baer.
Oh, yeah?
Who wants to just hang out and play golf, but you guys are always against it. I'm always down to hang out, Brett.
Okay.
No, it's super fun, but there hasn't been a lot of changes in our lives, to be honest with you. Next question, and I believe this is mine, Susan Decker. Have you all ever invited a Dem on to ask the tough questions and hold them accountable? I doubt anybody would say yes to the invite, but would love to see it happen. So,
Well, it's a great question because Smug is a co-host.
Yeah.
So
We have a Dem on the show.
We did. What was the name of the gal who was a journo who was considering running, and we invited her, and then
we've invited a lot.
No, I mean we have invited plenty, but this is recently, and we uncovered all these very interesting things from her Instagram.
And she was a
that's
candidate
right.
for about 7 minutes after we did our show.
That's right.
She's
You're
like,
right.
I guess I'm not running.
She was a
forgot
Hill journalist. I don't even
Completely
remember her
forgot
name.
about her. I got to Google that.
But there's
Hold on.
there's a fair number that we invite that, for obvious reasons they don't want to come on. I think it's a mistake on their part, in large part because you're going to have a good conversation one way or another. They have an opportunity. We're not going to crush them with ad hominem attacks, although we're not immune to that. But we will bring the facts.
And that's the thing is
And they hate that.
if you're unwilling to have your views challenged, what business do you think you have representing anybody?
Right. And to answer your question, Hannah Trudeau.
That's
Hannah
her.
Trudeau.
Hannah
That's
Trudeau.
it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Real gem.
Yeah. But we would have others on. In fact, I know we've invited many people. Fetterman, welcome here anytime to have a conversation. There's just not. These people are so isolated,
Yep.
and they just do not care about questions that you, a listener of the Ruthless Variety program, would have for them.
Well, and then also, I mean, they're not stupid. And for all of you listening or watching this, we've had professional careers in politics for most of our lives. We've made careers out of destroying Democrats. So, I don't think they would willfully step into the studio to be questioned by us.
And also, this is also
Fair.
You know what I mean,
a big
right?
part of the problem for Democrats is they won total control of the media, right? They had the New York Times, Washington Post, all of them writing exactly what they wanted.
They're just coming to grips with the fact that that's not going to do the trick.
That's the thing.
So we'll see. Maybe there will be more that come on. They're not going to get a free ride, though, to your point,
Right.
Dunks.
Right.
We have built somewhat of a reputation before we started doing the Ruthless Variety program about being people who are not, easily bowled over by those kind of things. So we'll see. We'll keep the requests coming. Listen, we got to get to our interview. Andrew Bremberg, very, very interesting guy. Take a listen. Well, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's a bit of a healthcare debate that's happening in the nation's capital. Captivated, I think, much of the political class. Of course, Democrats who built Obamacare all of a sudden turned around and decided it wasn't affordable.
Oh, it's a problem now.
It's an Affordable Care Act, but it's no longer affordable. So we look for answers on that. We endeavor to try to find the best ones we can. A guy that we thought of is a guy I used to work with, and Johnny used to work with, Andrew Bremberg. I got to tell you, not only were you a Trump 1 policy guy in this area, you got international credentials. You're a UN ambassador.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a big deal. We got
Big shot. We got a big shot.
a
on
real
set.
big shot.
Oh.
Huh?
Trouble.
Yeah,
Trouble.
it is trouble. How are you?
I'm doing great, and you guys are doing awesome. I want to say, hey, Merry Christmas. I know Ashbrook isn't here, so he loses out. These are Buckeyes.
Okay.
Merry Christmas,
All
guys.
right. Well,
So-
I'm sure Ashbrook will be actually love
More
a
Ohio
Buckeye,
stuff.
Oh,
but
he
I
would.
I don't want him to know that I love Buckeyes.
Oh.
Just
All right.
because, you know,
I
it's
know.
the implication that we're endorsing something that he's advocating for.
Now, did you
Big-
make these
big Midwest-
yourself?
Those are family made. I
Oh,
can't
okay.
say I made them myself. My family's from the great state of Ohio, so but I did not actually make these myself. So they're probably safe to eat. You know?
Yeah, a responsible guy, too. He's brought his son in, who's like a well-adjusted individual. That's how you know.
And a friend of the program.
And a friend of the
Indeed.
program. I love it. Well, thanks
Gotta
for
raise 'em
coming
right.
in.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you do.
You do. I mean, you got kids. You know what it's like.
It's the thing. You
is.
got to pay attention to that above all else. But listen, we're in a big affordability fight in healthcare. And we do find it endlessly amusing that Democrats, despite the universal warnings from the Republican Party that what they were attempting to do with Obamacare was going to break a marketplace and make things vastly more expensive, that they have now turned around and been like, why are you making this more expensive?
Right.
Right. But this is an area of expertise for you. I mean, you worked in the first Trump administration. You guys were really active, by the way. And what are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're exactly right that, they managed to turn in this issue that's a really small issue in terms of like a subset of the people on exchanges helped by Obamacare and the expiring, tax subsidies that went to insurance companies where they're trying to figure out how do we just keep subsidizing people to pay more and more and more for healthcare. And instead of talking about lowering the actual cost of healthcare for not just a small subset, but for 160, 180 million Americans who get their healthcare in the private sector, where costs have gone up, year over year, double-digit premium increases for people who get their insurance through good jobs. I don't know what your insurance has done, but the insurance costs
it's
all over
terrible.
the place, 10%, 20%. We've seen places where like unions have 30% healthcare cost increases in 1 year, and this is completely unsustainable. This is killing people, and Democrats are not addressing this. And this
That
is
was
something.
the funniest cognitive dissonance of this whole sort of debate we were having during the shutdown, at least for me, were Democrats warning us of these price increases, again, on a bill or a healthcare system that they built.
Right.
But it was during open season in which we were already seeing the increases.
You already got the quote.
We already saw the quotes. We know what's going up. You're not telling us anything we don't know, but you're the ones who did it to us.
Yeah, yeah. And like you said, it is a subset of the population in that the rest of America who has been getting their health insurance through their employer or what have you has had these massive increases over the last 15 years. And yet we're acting as though this tax credit that they passed on a partisan line is somehow going to help that population. It's not.
Nothing. That's right. And you talked about, how President Trump gets these issues. This is something that he firmly understood in the first term, understood the issue of really delivering for the American people on healthcare. One of the things that he learned and addressed was that the healthcare sector in the United States is unlike virtually every other sector of our economy where there are no prices.
Yeah.
There is no transparency. No one knows what the heck anything costs. And it's kept entirely secret. So in the first term, he did an executive order directing his agencies to make prices transparent. So start taking actions to do this. And the bureaucracy has to come to work. It took time. Those regulations finally got done. But then you have the Biden administration. And again, this is just price transparency. So, this is a bipartisan issue. If you've seen the polling on this, it's like 90 to 96% of people think you should see the prices for healthcare first. 4 years of nothing. Mm-hmm. No enforcement, no improvements in the regulations. There is no, you still can't see the prices.
Like, why do that when you can just throw dollars
Just
at
keep
it?
throwing money at it.
Yeah.
Just keep throwing money. And guess what? Like the hospitals and the health insurance companies, they're all for you just spending more money.
Yeah.
Well, and
that,
it seems
that works
like
well for them.
It seems like such a common sense thing. Holmes often tells me about during the original Obamacare fight when he was on the Hill. just as sort of a thought experiment, calling around to various, hospitals.
We would pick up the horn
and be like, hey, what does an X-ray cost?
Right.
Couldn't tell you.
Couldn't tell you. And you call, it doesn't matter if you're calling, Paducah, you're calling Midland, or you call, cities all around the country. You can't get clear answers on these things. And it seems like everywhere else in our economy, you can do that.
Right.
So why not in healthcare?
It's kind of the fundamental of a market.
Yeah.
A market economy. It's got like the capitalism thing that I felt like we all bought into until Democrats in these days.
Exactly. And then one of the last things that President Trump actually did in his first term, one of the laws he signed going out the door, if you guys remember these big omnibus appropriations bills at the end of the year, that included a bill called the No Surprises Act in it. Back in December 2020, to stop surprise bills, make sure people could, know what things are going to cost. And it required that, you guys both have kids, you've dealt with medical issues, hospitalizations, bills. After you get care, I mean, you have no idea what you're doing and going in. Afterwards, like a month or 2 months later, you get like an explanation of benefits in the mail saying it cost this much $1,000 and this is what you're going to have to pay and these sort of things. And people thought, wouldn't it be nice to have that like before the surgery rather than after the surgery?
It'd be great if my insurance company had head stitches for 2 boys under 10 as like something you could pay a premium for, because I feel like every 6 weeks I'm dealing with that.
And the amazing thing is that's actually the law now. Is that in that bill that President Trump signed, it said if you schedule care in advance, so maybe you don't schedule the stitches in advance.
I'm not scheduling.
That's less common. But you should get this advanced explanation of benefits if you schedule your care. And that was supposed to take effect in 2022. Never happened. Biden administration sat on it for 4 years. And now President Trump and his administration have the opportunity to implement that for the American people right now.
Did the Biden administration ever provide an explanation for it? It seems pretty straightforward.
It's very straightforward, yes. They dutifully put out like requests for information by the bureaucracy saying, this seems really hard and complicated to us. Insurance companies, what do you think?
And they're like, well, let's run it through the H954.
We'll create a steering committee and we'll study the issue. There'll be some listening sessions.
Well, if we can focus it back through the PBM that we own and the pharmacy that we own and then the other thing that we own, and we can push them all together at some point by 2030, you should have an answer.
That's exactly it. So now hopefully, President Trump this time around at the beginning of this year, he issued a new executive order re-upping the prioritization of radical price transparency. I mean, he means it when he says it. He knows, like, he's never done business where he doesn't see or know the cost. I mean, like, shocking, right? So he's like, this is ridiculous. You should never pay for anything that you don't know the price of. So his agencies are working right now to implement these reporting requirements for public transparency and to get patients their prices before scheduled care. I mean, it's the law, and we should have it. I mean, this is ridiculous that we don't. So if we can deliver that to the American people, this is not, a subsidy that helps, a small set of people. This is something that helps every patient in the country that faces potentially really high healthcare costs.
Well, it's kind of thing that can bend the curve over time,
Absolutely.
right? I mean, because if you're responsive to people who are shopping for healthcare, like you shop for everything else in this country, you got to make a competitive bid.
That's right.
Holmes, are you telling me that price pressures lead to efficiencies in a marketplace?
Well, it turns out.
That's crazy.
As it turns out, we've had a pretty good run with that sort of thing here
on
in the
literally
United States
everything else in our lives.
Right. Every sector, except for healthcare, where the costs just keep doing this like year after year, year after year. And so not only can patients then shop, but the other thing that's so great that I'm really looking forward to, so President Trump, in his executive orders, has told the Department of Labor, and I know you had Lori on here recently as well. They're doing great work over there. Most people get their insurance from their employer or a union, and those are all regulated by DOL and ERISA plans that in terms of how people get those plans, and those plans are getting ripped off and stolen from today. Like all the different insurers that they're supposed to work for them don't. They hide their information, don't show them what their actual costs are. They don't even know what they're paying for the actual care they deliver. So her department has an opportunity to do a big regulation in this space that they're working on to really make sure that they know, whether it's the PBMs or the third-party administrators or all the different vertically integrated actors in the healthcare system, they disclose to the plan sponsor, the employer or the union, here's how we get paid. Here's what we do for you and who else is paying us, shocking. And here's your claims. Like, here's what your costs actually are.
Listen, if that were to happen, I mean, that would be the biggest breakthrough of all time.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, because you do have these insurance companies that have made a business model out of hiding all of this and sort of coming up with 3 to 4 sets of integrated cash transfers between the patient and their care. And what boggles the mind the most, and this has been true since I started doing healthcare stuff back in Obamacare days, is that the answer from Democrats is one of two things. What they ultimately want to do, which is just like the DMV of healthcare, right?
Yes.
Just be the National Health Service.
That's right. Single
Never
payer.
mind the fact that anybody who has nationalized healthcare flies here to get their care if they can afford it, because it's like substandard to say the least. But then they also just answer prices and everything else by just taking money, same way they do with college loans.
Yeah.
They just take money out of the taxpayer's wallet and throw it at insurance companies.
Never asking the question, is that the right price for the thing?
No.
Right. You know?
Never.
Yeah.
And then the insurance, lo and behold, goes up by, I don't know, about the amount that you threw.
Would you look at that?
They're like, well,
Shocking.
we might have priced it into the marketplace.
That's right.
Right?
Inflation ran at 3%, and the healthcare costs went up 10%, 15%. Like, what the
It's
heck's going on here?
wild, right?
That's right.
I mean, you don't have to have much more than just like a simple math. You could, if you took a class just called math.
Right.
It doesn't need to be algebra. It doesn't need to be anything else. Just math.
That's
I
right.
think
Well,
you could
this
probably
will
figure that
shock
out.
you. If you look at economists right now that talk about this issue, left, right, and center. They recently did a study and analysis and a couple of letters here in Washington about how if you just had price transparency across the healthcare system, you'd save $1 trillion with a T, $1 trillion back into our economy.
Jeez.
I mean,
That's real money even by Washington standards.
even by Washington
Right?
standards, that's real money. Of course, it's basically the first 9 months of a Biden administration, but it is real money.
No,
nevertheless.
it is real money. And to your point about what the other option is, I just worry, like we've never had real free market healthcare in our system. It's so messed up. There are no prices. We don't know how it works. And if we don't get this fixed, I think the Trump administration Republicans are poised right now to deliver for the American people. I think they can do it before the midterms, really make an impact on helping people. People see tangibly this makes a difference. Because if we don't, the next time the Democrats get in charge, I think it's like game over, single payer. Like they went
No
halfway
question.
with Obamacare last time. They couldn't get all the way. Next time, they're going for it. So
You
we
create
have
two
to deliver.
entitlements and you expand the eligibility for both until they're just an inch apart, and then you break the system in the middle.
That's right.
That's the intent.
That's right.
Right? And that's what they
100%.
intend to do. So we got to fix it before that happens. Listen, Andrew Bremberg, you are a good friend of the program. Thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate everything you're up to. Keep us updated on this. There's going to be a big healthcare debate next year.
I know. I'm really glad. Congress talked about it at the end of the year. They're coming back in January. In the Senate, you've got Senator Cassidy, Senator Marshall talking a lot about this right now.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've had them on the program yet, but they're talking about transparency. They've got the Patients Deserve Price Tags Act that will really solidify and codify all this right now. And in the House, I saw Scalise was on. He's so great.
Yep.
And they're behind this too. So I think we can really see real momentum, in Q1 of next year to really deliver and get this done.
It's great news. All right, Andrew Bremberg, everybody.
I mean, Bremberg is such a good guy, and of course, you mentioned at the top of the show that we used to work with him. And one of the things I remember about him is he had this gigantic dog named Titan. In addition to all the kids, Bremberg leads one of the great Catholic families in our area, and so naturally they have a ton of kids. But he was always talking about his kids. He was always talking about his dog Titan, and this is a guy who was always committed to his work, committed to the mission.
Yeah, it's great. It's a really good interview. I'm glad we had him on. Listen, we have some best of variety that we did a little preview of some of this stuff on a previous episode, I think last week.
Good
We got
reviews.
A lot of feedback.
Yeah.
People loved it. So we were like, let's package up more because there's so much to deal with. You guys are going to love this. Take a look. So our second story,
This is really good.
it relates to the first in many ways. The New Yorker, a publication that none of you, not a single one of you, subscribes to or reads on a frequent basis, but still exists in large part because of its constituency in New York and California that subscribes by the dozens. And allows them to do things like this. They have published a story of inside the living rooms of notable New Yorkers. This next segment describes to you better than anything we can say about the modern Democratic left. It is truly remarkable. Smug, I'd like you to just sort of set the stage for what it is that we're dealing with here.
I started reading this. This is the most bananas thing. So the New Yorker is saying that, like, this is just notable. We're just going to have some notable New Yorkers. Their description of a living room is just deranged. I'm just going to read it direct. What aspects of living are meant to be done in a living room exactly? Not eating, which takes place, at least theoretically, in the dining room or in the kitchen. Not sleeping or having sex, which takes place in the bedroom. And unless you live in an old East Village tenement, I won't even mention bathing. What the living room is for, ostensibly, is gathering. It's the most public-facing of a home's spaces, and as such, it bears a particular burden. That of showcasing to others who the occupants are. Like,
we're doing critical living room theory.
Quite poignant.
They're like, how have we lost touch with regular Americans? Let's do a breakdown.
Was this written by E.E. Cummings?
The quilt you drape on your couch, the paintings you hang on your wall, the tchotchkes you select for your mantle, all are about as important to your adult self-conception as the heavy eyeliner and chunky boots are to an emo teen's, which is to say, very.
Also, they're like, the New Yorker's authors are like, you know, when you're just like hanging the paintings in your living room. I like to have a Rothko in mind. That's normal, right? Most Americans have Rothkos, don't they?
If you're having a hard time conceptualizing what we're going for here, imagine how you live and what your house looks like, and you know your living room. Which, look at the description. It's not far off. I mean, there's a lot of us in the Midwest where the kitchen is an open space and you just sort of gather there in addition to a living room. Mm-hmm. But the point is like this is supposed to define the house that you're in. In many ways, that is correct. I'm not going to quibble for one moment with the New Yorker's characterization of that. But what they found from the notable New Yorkers, you won't be surprised to find out the most liberal people on the face of the planet, is remarkable. Really remarkable. Why don't we start out with Reverend Al Sharpton, who's a very notable New Yorker, and his Upper East Side palace. Here we have the Reverend Al standing in a very, it's just the vest of a three-piece suit, standing there looking serious, solemn.
To me, the most telling thing about, for our audio listeners, I'm going to describe it. You can already know this is probably what his living room looks like. It's Al Sharpton standing in a room with one photo. It's a photo of Al Sharpton.
A painting of Al Sharpton on Al Sharpton's wall.
Okay, so what I love about this is there's another view you could go for. Mm-hmm. Maybe a window in the background. Maybe you could see some skyline or something. And you just have to imagine the stage direction from Al. From Rev Al.
He's like, no.
I need the picture of myself behind me.
Yeah. Well, here's the other.
There's like what? There's like a doggy fence there.
Well, that's what caught my attention because it's a 4x4 dog playpen with crystal water dishes and food dishes and a basket full of toys and a plush bed.
No dog though.
No dog.
No. Dog didn't make the cut.
That would complicate the depiction.
Yeah, the austere aesthetic.
Well, he has to keep that pretty beast anonymous.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't want to unfairly make them a target. But that's what Al Sharpton is. How about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, AOC, as we've come to know her. She's East Elmhurst, New York. What do we have here, fellas?
She's knitting a scarf.
I mean, come on. Really?
Winter is coming, old man. She is preparing. As she normally does with her tube socks and French bulldog at her side. This is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez just thinking about how she might one day run for president of the United States.
I mean, dude, the amount of preparation, for those of you who've never been a part of PR or any sort of photo shoot or anything like that, the amount of preparation that goes into a photo like this, it's heavy makeup, it's trying to depict you in a way that you just absolutely need to be depicted. And someone like the New Yorker goes over the top where they make full magazine photo spreads of it. What she has done is decided to lay on a couch and knit.
Yeah. Right.
As if she's just sort of like an old grandmother.
Right. It makes no sense. I mean, this is the most social media hungry, clout chasing member of the Democratic Party, and you want me to believe that she walks into her apartment in East Elmhurst and she takes off her shoes and then she gets out her knitting gear? I just don't believe it.
No.
I don't believe it. She goes live on Instagram every night.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
But it looks like a candid shot, old man. Are you sure this is real?
The only person that I have come across who included someone who would be considered family in any sort of definitional way, Alex Soros.
Yes, this is my favorite. You have to subscribe to the YouTube.
My God.
You have to see this because it's absolutely beautiful. Okay, so let me just set the scene here. Alex Soros, the son of George Soros, who's now in charge of his Democratic investment empire, is lounging with his legs crossed, with his hand raised, holding the hand of Uma Abedin. Who
All very straight-faced.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all like almost a Mona Lisa-like.
It's very strange
Yes.
for a man to be sitting that way while ostensibly in some sort of physical relationship with this woman who he has on display. It is not a masculine pose.
We should draw the green lines because she's like facing away from him while also his legs are crossed, and folks will recognize this his penthouse condo from it's essentially just like a trophy case of elected Democrats where they all have to come kiss the ring and stand in front of his skyline.
That's what's happened. He collects them like baseball cards, as
Yeah.
we've said. Any single Democrat who has been of any sort of consequence over the years,
He summons them.
they've been summoned.
He
to
rings the
Soros.
bell.
Well, this is the other thing I love about that room in particular. Can you put that graphic back up, please? Is you've got Alex Soros. This is a man who has spent
So weird.
spent millions,
This is so weird.
millions upon millions of dollars to elect every far left DA in the country to defund the police, and he lives in a glass citadel hundreds of feet above the city he's ruining. It's like this photo is like the photo of a fucking Bond villain.
Yep.
It's so good. But also, what if you look past all of these? Not a smirk. Not so much as it's just an element of joy.
None.
I mean, these are the notable libs that you are ascribing to. Not a single one of them looks like they're having any fun whatsoever. I do love the Huma Abedin component to this, by the way, which is,
Right.
The ostensible, articulated reason for Alex Soros is to try to usher in this progressive left governing of everything from local crime enforcement all the way up to the federal government, the President of the United States. And then he's holding hands sort of auspiciously with the woman who's maybe most responsible for not electing Hillary Clinton.
Yeah, right.
For some of our younger listeners and viewers, they might not know the lore on Huma Abedin, who was she was essentially Hillary Clinton's right-hand woman, worked for Hillary, and when her husband Carlos Danger, also what was his actual
Anthony Weiner.
Anthony Weiner,
Yeah.
former congressman from New York, former incarcerated individual for child sex crimes,
Unspeakable crimes.
Huma was married to Anthony Weiner
Yes.
while Huma worked for Hillary Clinton, and while they were investigating Anthony Weiner, they found out that he was using Huma's laptop.
And so some of the Hillary Clinton emails that there was the whole investigation over
disappeared.
in 2016 appeared on this laptop that had been accessed by Anthony Weiner. This is no joke. One of the reasons why Hillary Clinton did not become president of the United States is because of Uma and because of Carlos Danger.
It's incredible.
I mean, just go back through the history of when the FBI reopened the discussion in the waning weeks of the 2016 election. The reason they did so is because they had an investigation into Anthony Weiner and exposing his parts.
Yep.
Yeah.
And when they had that investigation, they found, lo and behold, a whole bunch of emails that had to do with Hillary Clinton that she vanished, that were not any longer vanished.
I just look at that picture and wonder what Alex Soros is searching for on Huma Abedin's computer.
So I want to read. Keep that image up there. This is from friend of the program, Jarvis Best on X. Jarvis_Best wrote, loved this picture of me, a heterosexual, and my wife, who I love being physically intimate with.
It is so unrelatable.
It's hilarious.
Like, that's what the case is with all of these things.
They're
It's
just
like,
a notable New Yorker.
It's the most inauthentic, unrelatable bunch of shit that you've ever seen in your entire life.
Speaking of unrelatable, my friend, I think we should go to Graphic 5.
Let's go to Graphic 5.
Boy.
Who's the resident
No
expert
way.
on Ella Emhoff? We know her by relation to the former Democratic nominee's husband's daughter.
Yeah. Stepdaughter of Kamala Harris.
Yeah, and this is super relatable, unquestionably. Who wants to take this one?
Well, it says she's a textile artist in the Lower East Side, and there is all this thread over, you can see sort of on the left side of her apartment shelves. It makes you think, leads you to believe that she's headed straight to the loom, where she is going to weave together some fabrics and carry out her occupation as a textile artist. However,
Unless she's running the most successful shop in the history of Etsy, there is no way a textile artist could afford a place in the Lower East Side.
to me, dude, like her saying she's a textile artist, it reminds me of me and my brother joking that we were raking leaves and therefore we were conducting fall foliage mitigation.
I mean, but just look at first of all, she's standing on her fucking couch.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I guess that's a pose.
Just a very natural pose you'd find me in any evening.
Let me just say it.
Say it.
If anyone that I grew up with had this situation going on in the fam, they'd be devastated.
Yeah.
They'd be devastated. Like, this is the kind of problem that you get a week before Thanksgiving. They're not going to make it. They're not going to show up, and they hate their family. They're like completely tossing you all under the bus, and they've got a bunch of left-wing reasons to do so. Like, just look at the problem that is Ella Emhoff here. I mean, standing on the couch, she's got a crop top on. I don't know what you call it. Those are like those are the shorts that I used to wear as a kid in 1995.
Yeah,
probably.
like board shorts.
Right, like a board short. And she's holding a
Are
dog.
those Jenkos?
Yeah.
Jenkos?
Bring them back.
A stack of books, the likes of which I fear for the dog's health, in all honesty, because if any one of those topples over, you got like 40 pounds of books coming down on you. That would take out that little mutt, no question about it. And then there's a bunch of stuff here. I still come back to what you highlighted at the top, a textile artist. I mean, is she printing T-shirts? What is she doing? What's a textile artist?
That's what I can't get over is the con job that they expect us to believe that they caught her in between weaving sessions. Like she is just sitting in a sewing machine 23 hours a day, and then this was the 1 hour when they caught her candid spending time with her pup.
Extremely notable.
It's just insane. She's a wealthy socialite who lives a life that nobody else in this country lives. And she's LARPing as some kind of a worker.
She's at her loom when the New Yorker knocks. Oh, hello, I didn't see you there.
Right.
I was textile artisting.
Just changing out the needles in my sewing machine.
Busily making garments for working class America.
Making garments.
Who's the last one here? Anna Sorokin?
Oh, Anna Delvey. This is Anna Delvey.
Okay, who is this?
So this is the Manhattan socialite con woman who conned all of these rich people out of a bunch of money for this art gallery project she was going to be doing or something. It was like this whole scam thing. You'll see here in the photo on her right ankle is actually her monitoring device.
No.
My God.
No.
Yeah. Which I just love that they included her.
Hats off to the eyes on that.
Right.
That's good.
And she's wearing some sort of what is this? It's like a fur coat sort of
off
thing.
The shoulder.
Shawl, some sort of shawl.
So off the shoulder.
Yeah. I guess what I love most about this is she did a great service to America by conning a bunch of left-wing dupes out of their money. And in fact, I would suggest perhaps that she might be the least felonious person they portrayed in this whole thing.
Amazing.
That's the best part of it. So you've got look, I'm not an interior decorator, but the shot is, I guess, ostensibly out the window because it has a viewpoint of New York City over the river. And that, that I guess that's cool. There is a very ill-shapen sofa in front of it that's sort of like cast off to, one side of the wall in large part because you get one of those apartments that are the leftover apartments they can't square off, that they do like a one quarter, 2/4 turn. And then she's got 1 foot on that, not a single picture on the wall.
No.
And then it looks like in the bottom part of the photograph, there's just some debris.
Assorted debris.
Assorted debris. You know what I mean? Like, I if you're going to do like a New Yorker thing and you're going to be a part of like the Alex Sorkin sort of like billionaire class of puppeteers that are the modern most influential New Yorkers, I'm not sure this is it. Like, this feels like you're going to, if she is a con artist, this feels like a pretty bad start. Like, you got a lot of talking to do to get through this.
Well, this is part of her rehabilitation tour, I think.
Oh, she's like, well, I'm not that rich.
Well, she's on the other side of it, right? Like, the con had been revealed.
Oh, it had already been.
And honestly,
hence the ankle bracelet.
I would rather billionaires give their money to her than to Alex Soros. That's for sure.
So this isn't just to make fun of the New Yorker or who they see as, significant New Yorker, like power players of the next generation, so much as it is to sort of codify what we've been talking about here for the last year and a half on the Ruthless Variety program, which is the modern Democratic Party is that.
Yep.
That's what it is. Mm-hmm. And you can get the, every once in a while discussion about the working class. And they'll talk a lot about like, oh, the Republican Party is for billionaires, voting public notwithstanding, policy notwithstanding, all of that. Like, this is what they talk, but this is who they are. And that's who they answer to. And so, like, the reason we highlight all of this is, can you relate?
Yeah.
Do you think any one of these people, like, take a look at Ella Imhoff. Does she look like somebody who you're going to hang out with on Friday night after a tough week of work?
They're like, if she puts a camo hat on, she could probably get elected. I think that is.
All right, so the third clip, there's a South Carolina Democrat. This is courtesy of the Charleston Police Department. Can we see this video?
Charleston
Who is your biological father? Would you please share that with the world? Hey, Nancy, right now, because I only promised that I would not do this once I started this campaign. Because I can't do this once I started campaign. You better tell the world right now that what you did in the wall of the Congress was the greatest sin ever committed in the history of this nation.
We started this segment about jungle juice, and there was like a firm lamentation that people are not drinking jungle juice anymore. And I think the reason why is because he's drinking all of it.
Well, this is the Low Country attorney, Mullins McLeod.
That is such a South Carolina name. That's the most perfect South Carolina name of all time.
Mullins McLeod is a prominent attorney down there in the Low Country. He's announced his candidacy for the Democratic primary for governor on Monday. It doesn't feel like it's going that well.
Dude, here's what I would do. I would run that as an ad if I were him. This is South Carolina.
He's like, man, I get it.
South Carolina, like, people think Florida's crazy. Dude, South Carolina is so bonkers. It's so crazy. It's out of control.
I love Charleston.
If I'm him, I run that. I run that.
I mean, he uses a racial slur, profanity, goes on an hour-long rant. We just sort of showed you a little clip of it. Charleston police responded to a battery.
To the battery.
Yeah, to the battery on May 2 for a report of a man in his underwear yelling and causing a disturbance. Officers found this man, Mullins McLeod.
McLeod. I'm really disappointed in McLeod. Just speaking as someone from the Scottish American community at Duncan, generally we can handle our alcohol.
He's let you down.
Yeah. It's very disappointing.
It's disappointing.
I mean, that's not Scotch drunk. That guy is on.
We don't know.
Yeah, that's not Scotch.
We don't know. Maybe this is pure, unvarnished liberal Democrat in the South. That's possible, too. We don't know.
No, he's bringing back the Blue Dog Dems.
Well, there's
Honestly,
a racial slur
not
involved,
a bad way.
so you might be right about that.
Dude, I support that campaign launch. Brilliant.
Okay, well done, Mullins. McLeod. I just love it. Great stuff. It's been a hell of a year with all of these things. It's been, 2026. Here we go. I can't imagine we're going to do anything less than what we did in 2025 in terms of the variety. There's a lot of crazy out there to mine from, animals and whatnot.
It's a renewable resource.
It is.
It sure is.
Unquestionably. Like and subscribe to the Ruthless Variety Program. When you do, we read all of your comments, and we get back to the very next episode. And thank you for joining us throughout this entire year. It's been a hell of a year for all of us, and we've really enjoyed you being along the ride with us. With that, fellas, I think we did it.
I think so. Absolute banger of an episode, gentlemen. Thank you so much, Andrew Bremberg, and thank you to the listener. Remember, if you have not yet, go to the YouTube, hit that subscribe because it's more fun in video. So until next time, minions, keep the faith, hold the line, and own the libs. We'll see you next time. Stay ruthless.